Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A with us, the British Fist.
Coaching.
Ow, that hurt, NJ. Mr. Parkin here, this guy sitting next to me who's pretty knocked out right now. Wake up, NJ. It's time to do it. It's time to go.
What's up?
What's up? Subscribe above, like this video, and comment any thoughts you have on the questions we've answered down in the comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the description box below.
Yeah, how was that for an intro, guys? You want us to change up a little bit? That's what we did. So you can still send us in questions via like the description box links down there. Facebook.com/BritishFist, Twitter.com/BritishFist with the Twitter hashtag BritishFistQA. Comment down below if you're lazy like me, or YouTube inbox us, which is the best method of asking questions to us.
Because it's the questions that you give us, the questions that keep us going, so please keep them coming so we can keep answering them. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you. You're welcome, ignoramuses. I'm joking, I'm just Damien Sandowing it there. So let's get straight on to this Q&A, NJ. If your question hasn't been answered in this one, it will be answered in the future. I've been overwhelmed by your questions. I've said this so many times now, but I keep feeling the need to remind you guys because some of you guys have been wondering why your questions haven't been answered. So we will go straight onto it and take as much time as we can to answer some of the questions here. So let's go straight away. Mr. TNA 2005. I'm guessing your favourite year of TNA was 2005. Mr. TNA 2005 asked us a fair amount of questions, which you'll go through now. Why wrestling doesn't do a 1 to 2 year storyline that makes sense anymore, like ROH did with Kevin Steen? That was awesome. Well, that's mainly because TNA and WWE have got like weekly TV programs. People will lose interest in it because their attention spans aren't very big, and it's just the writing, the limits that they have on the writing now. You know, with ROH, they didn't have a TV show every week most of the time to keep the storyline going, which is why they could keep it going for about 1 to 2 years.
Well, to be honest, yes, it weren't done as strongly as fans would like it, but Rock vs. Cena, that was done roughly over 1 year. They tried little segments here, little segments there. So they tried to expand it over 1 year, but they didn't keep it going in an entertaining way.
I think it just got to the point with that where we just wanted to get over with. But with Steen, it was different. It was like you wanted to see it.
And that, I think they could do it quite, not simply, but they could do it like, say, someone's going to be returning and have been yet sort of some mysterious package of someone returning.
Like the Sting and Hogan thing.
So I think they could do it. They just don't think of it anymore since, like you said.
Yeah.
So they could do it. They're not doing it.
Also, with the ratings being as they are, they want to give us impactful moments. And building it over 1 year, they probably don't think it's worth it. But you never know. Did you see the Judas Messias in 2008 gimmick in TNA? We didn't, I'm afraid. We didn't see that gimmick, so we can't really comment on that.
2008 weren't the year I started. I started late 2011. So whatever happened backwards, we do watch the odd matches, but not like the things you mentioned.
No, I haven't seen Judas Messiah, neither has NJ. Which is the best match you've seen in TNA thus far? Since we've been watching TNA in 2011, the match quality has got a lot better since 2011 because they got rid of the old guys from the main event scene. Various different matches, personally for me, I'll just list off a couple of mine. My favourite, because I was the most invested in this feud, was Rude vs. Storm at Bound for Glory. Rude versus Austin Aries was a very good match at Destination X, as was their rematch. Your favourites?
It's, again, I do say that the way they performed, especially at the recent pay-per-view, it was Storm and Rude. They had the Buddy Ray and AJ Styles when we watched it. There was Buddy Ray and Abyss. Even though it was more weapon usage, I did enjoy that match. So they're my quick rundowns.
I think Magnus can become the biggest and most important English wrestler in the last decade, even surpassing Wade Barrett and both be world champs. What do you think? Magnus does have an it factor, I think. I don't think he'll go all the way in TNA, personally. I think Barrett has much more of a chance to go in WWE just because of his size and stuff like that, and the fact that WWE really do want to appeal to some of those British audiences. I don't see Magnus being a main eventer in TNA. It's a real shame, really, because I think he could definitely be something unique in TNA.
It's a bit of a shame, but at the minute, yes, you could say that Magnus is getting a bit of TV time, but not enough to think, there's a future guy here. They're just not giving us that feeling. But Barrett, yes, they brought him back weak, but I think the WWE are going to probably push Barrett in a more better way than Magnus is going to get.
You can see it, can't you, in the way that they've kind of previously, even though they booked him a bit more bad lately. But number 5, did you see Robbie E, the list show on the internet? What do you think of the list being put on TV? They can do it backstage, not in the ring. No. Just no, we're going to move on. Scorpion Reviewer, name 5 feuds you would like to see with the current WWE roster that have never happened so far.
It's a bit of a shame you're saying current roster because like I could name some, let's say over the last 10 years, let's say. There's some wrestlers who've left the WWE that I wouldn't mind seeing against some of the ones we have now. But for the sake of this question, we have came up with the list.
Yeah, Damien Sandow versus Triple H we thought would be a good feud. Mainly because Damien Sandow is based off the first Triple H gimmick, the English blood gimmick they did when he first come in, and so that would be especially with the DX interaction they had at Raw 1000, that would be a very interesting feud, I think.
Again, I wouldn't say anytime soon, but I think when Sandow's had a few feuds, I think Triple H would be one of his first, if not a second, top guys to face.
Yeah, like a WrestleMania feud or something.
It would be a good direction.
I still think a really good idea would have been, from Raw 1000, have Damien Sandow go through all the members of DX until eventually it culminates in a Triple H match at WrestleMania. I still think that would have been a really good storyline to put over a guy like Damien Sandow as a proper star.
I think for the future of the WWE, having the members of DX back, cutting their promos, bringing entertainment back to the show would have been a great build, and I think that could have been a way to go, but it looks like the DX members had that one night and they've gone again.
Yeah, it looks like the X-Pac and Trish Stratus segment. Oh, that was awkward. For me, personally, I don't think you like this one, but Ryback and Lesnar. I would love to see that, because Ryback is an upcoming star in WWE, and they're pretty similar. It's like the Goldberg-Lesnar thing. I know the match wasn't very good at WrestleMania 20, but if Ryback had a match against Lesnar, I still think it would be incredibly interesting, and the feud would be very good as well. Considering how well both of them, especially Ryback, considering how well Ryback's been booked lately.
I think Ryback would struggle to go against someone as dominant and long-term and one who's as brutal as Lesnar. I think the match, I think Lesnar would want to be long match, determined, kick-ass style, and Ryback would have to keep trying to prove himself to go up against someone as big and dominant as Lesnar. So I think it'd be a struggle, even though the WWE are going to do what they can to put Ryback over.
Yeah, I mean, they have pretty similar styles, so I think it'd be a good little dynamic, personally. But big guy versus big guy, why not do it? Miz and Punk was another one that we both wanted, because they have real heat, apparently, these two. And I think there was one point in time where that was going to be a feud, but they never did it because they were burying Miz. I would really love to see a feud between Miz and Punk.
Again, we're in the talk of like Punk and Rock, two great mic talkers, a great guy to put over CM Punk. I think this feud, again, two great mic talkers, Punk to put over Miz in this case. I think this could definitely be a match with great wrestling, great build, great promos. I think they could still make this happen, especially in the result of future pay-per-views, is just bringing Miz back up to the level to face Punk.
Yeah, and that's essentially what they need to do from now on, bring Miz up to the level of a CM Punk, which is probably going to be very hard to do. The next feud we're going to say is, we've seen this many times on free TV, but this feud has never been done properly, and it's never been done over a world title. Sheamus versus Wade Barrett. We really want to see that feud, don't we, NJ? The Irish brawler versus the British bare knuckle boxer.
I think with this feud, the fact that they're at the same kind of brawling kind of characters, both on the same show at the moment in time, I think this feud is definitely one that could be done properly, done at pay-per-views, but they've blown it now, so I'll do this in a couple of months' time when they've moved away from this horrible TV match they've had.
Barrett and Taker is one you'd want to see going for the streak.
Oh my gosh, I think even though it's been a while since that feud or that moment when they attacked Taker, I think that Barrett could say, I've been waiting for the right time. In fact, you're getting old at a point where you're beaten. I'm a guy who's going to finish you off. I think Barrett could bring it back. Would fans want to see it? Maybe not, but I think it'd be great for Barrett.
It seems like hitting yourself in the chest has really affected you in the sense that you said Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Right, personally, for me, I'm going to add a sixth one just for my own preference. Back at the beginning of this year's Raw, you had Foley and Ziggler having that really good feud between each other. Nice Mike Mondo impression there. And I think a match between Foley and Ziggler would have been a very good feud to put Ziggler over as a potential star for the WWE.
I could say Foley and quite a few of the upcoming wrestlers, but I think with Ziggler still needing a wrestler to put him over, because wrestlers like Cody Rhodes have had in-ring segments with some of the best. Ziggler's still trying to struggle to get his name up there. So I think to be in the ring with Foley would be one of the strongest points of his career.
AJ Warrior asked us a couple of questions. Will Chris Jericho ever win a Royal Rumble? Probably not. He's never really been a centerpiece, in my opinion, to win a Rumble, personally.
My question is, what will be the benefit of Chris Jericho winning it when we've got these other wrestlers who could use the win a bit more and probably have more future for the WWE than Chris Jericho, who's had his chance over his career?
Yeah, and who would win out of these matches, and would you like to see them if they were to happen? There's 6 matches here. Match 1, Cody Rhodes versus Mick Foley.
I said
would be a great way of putting over Cody Rhodes, wouldn't it? As a legit main eventer.
I did say that Mick Foley, like we said, we agreed Ziggler, but Cody Rhodes would be another name. Yep.
Match 2, CM Punk versus Sheamus versus Wade Barrett world title.
I don't see anything really wrong with that because you've got what we want to see, Barrett and Sheamus, and Punk adding another big name into it. Some matches in the past have been triple threats and turned out to be really good. So with this match, 3 big names for the world title, I say go for it.
Yeah, I think personally, I'd rather just see Sheamus versus Wade Barrett without CM Punk in there, but I do like the idea of that. Match 3, Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston versus Damian Sandow versus The Miz versus Christian in an IC Championship Scramble match.
Daniel Bryan from the main event down to the mid card. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Yes.
Pretty strongly, yes. I think you've got really strong names in there. The Miz, though, I'd have him, as we've said in the previous question, having gone up against like CM Punk, so I'll probably try and move him upwards instead of in the middle. But with that match, you've got 4 good competitors, and it's a match for the IC title, so it's got big names for the belt.
I'd definitely have Damian Sandow win that championship scramble match. What a perfect way to make Damian Sandow win his first belt for the WWE if he's not going to win the tag titles. Match 4. It's a match which I personally think needs to happen at some point. The only person so far in the top guy for WWE that hasn't faced Taker for the streak, John Cena versus Undertaker. I'd really want to see this happen, and I think if they were going to do it, I think Taker, I'd like to see Taker win, but if they want to really make John Cena that top guy, then they'd have Cena win. Fuck off.
With John Cena beating The Undertaker, that would be incredibly bad. You've had Taker go up against so many other great wrestlers. It's like saying John Cena can actually do the job that Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Edge, CM Punk, and Big Show, and all these other big names. There's probably more, but I'm just running off the top of my head, that have faced Taker and couldn't get the job done. Cena has his, let's say, first match at Mania against The Undertaker, and John Cena wins. I don't think that would be really fair. It's a match that should happen because John Cena's obviously getting a big CV and all these different accomplishments. So going against Taker would be a match to add to it, but I would not have him win, but there we go.
Match 5, Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara, 2 out of 3 falls.
Why add the stipulation? That's my only question. Why add that stipulation when these two could have their first big match at WrestleMania against each other, or whenever you're thinking of putting them up against each other? Yeah.
I think he wanted a main event stipulation for that, because he did put main event at the end. I'll say Sin Cara would win this. Definitely would want to see this match at WrestleMania. 2 luchadores, all that, and with their tag team and everything, could build up a good, nice little Eddie Ray thing there.
I think it should definitely happen. The stipulation I don't really need in this match, but if they was to add it, that would be a pretty stipulation that WWE don't use as much anymore.
And then a bonus match. Here we go. Brock Lesnar versus Rock versus Austin versus Triple H for the WWE Championship. I really wouldn't want to see this. Putting 4 big names in a fatal 4-way match for the WWE Championship when really they shouldn't really be going after the WWE Championship. No, I really would not want to see that.
Well, if I cut down the wrestlers, Brock and Rock, pretty good there. Austin, Triple H, and you got 2 good feuds here at the time, but I think with the future of the WWE, you've only got none in there that obviously are going to do it for the future, but for a main event match, you've basically taken 4 big names out of possible other matches for that pay-per-view, but in my opinion, it's a standout match, but I wouldn't do it.
I'd rather take 2 feuds out of that and make 2 main event matches, but that's just me. Mr. Rob 2341, what are your 5 matches you would have liked to see at Mania? Mine are Austin versus Rock, HBK versus Eddie Guerrero, Sting versus Taker, Angle versus Bret Hart, and Macho Man versus Rock. You pretty much got my list there.
Pretty strong matches there. You've got matches that I think were pretty strong. One of them, pretty sure we've named before.
Yep.
I can't think of much to add to that, but to be honest, you've done a pretty good job at listing possible match that should have happened.
If I was going to do the list, I would have done it in exactly the same way you did. I'm really not joking there. This is the list I would have done. Clarkson, Joel Lopez. Clarkson, Joel Lopez. In your opinions, who are some of the worst champions of all time and why? Oh my god. Great Khali and Jack Swagger.
I think Khali, as much as when he first came in, he was a dominant force, a big guy that you would pretty much see in the main event. As time went on, his character just didn't work out, so I'll say that. I say, yes, Swagger, even though there's some people behind him, he just didn't stand out compared to other wrestlers.
You mean like Jericho Rocker 1, 2, 3, 4? That guy?
Sorry.
Yeah, he's always behind Swagger. Why?
But other than that, I can't really think of someone that's been bad apart from John Cena.
Well, that's just because he's had it so much. I mean, it's not necessarily been bad, it's just that he's had it so much. There are others that I can think of, but I don't really want to name them. Because I'd much prefer answer this next question. When do you think Wade Barrett will become world champion? Well, it's not going to happen this year, is it? If they're going to do it, it'll have to be 2013, in my opinion, on the SmackDown brand.
We've got the Rumble coming up. I'd personally say either this Rumble or next. I think Barrett could quite easily go into it, prove himself as a main eventer and a winner, and go on and face at WrestleMania. But I think the WWE have WrestleMania already planned, so it'll have to be next year's.
Yeah, I'd say next year, but you never know with WWE. You know what they're like at fucking up Wade Barrett. What's the name of this guy, NJ? Could you scroll up for me, please? Crew5150 Timar! What mid-card superstars would you like to be eventually pushed from the following?
Ooh.
Tyson Kidd, Jinder Mahal, Ted DiBiase, Kofi Kingston, or Santino Marella. In terms of what they can offer, do you want to go?
Boom! Boom!
Yeah.
Boom!
I would say Kofi Kingston, purely because he gets the best reaction out of the crowd.
Cobra!
And fuck the Cobra. Jinder Mahal would have a great potential as a heel.
Yeah, he will, Dan. He will.
If he wasn't part of the 3MB faction. Jesus Christ, you're so quick to assume. You're like the YWC.
You've missed one.
What?
We talk about the 3MB. What about Drew McIntyre? What about
Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre?
Oh, yeah. No, Drew McIntyre. Oh, I'm Drew McIntyre. Yeah, I'm part of the 3MB band, man. You know what I'm saying, man? I'm not even a rock star, but I'm going to be one, man.
That's it, yes.
Exactly, so shut up. In 5 years, could you see a triple threat match between Ryback, A-Rai, and Wade Barrett main event in WrestleMania? Maybe if the YWC was booking WrestleMania, but unfortunately the YWC isn't very good in the business sense. I, for one, have a first degree in business, and I don't think that would be the best match to main event at WrestleMania.
In 5 years, I'm glad you're giving Ryback that faith that he's going to be main evented at WrestleMania in 5 years. I'm glad you got faith behind
And Alex Riley.
Right as well. But again, I just don't see that match happening ever.
Do you think Cena versus Orton would be the last match for either superstar at a major pay-per-view? I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to go off the fact that Austin and Rock faced each other loads of times. No, I mean, why would these two face off? Like,
the only reason I had this happen is if they planned for Orton to punch Cena and kick Cena in the head and knock him out, finish him off, have Cena to disappear after the pay-per-view. I'd do that, but if not, then it's not going to happen. Lastly,
do you think Cody Rhodes needs to change heel to get pushed into to win a major title? No, I really don't think his gimmick needs to change. I just think that WWE, I mean, they obviously have some faith in the guy. They just need to actually try.
He's already had enough character changes. Don't make me mention them because some of them were ridiculous. I think he could quite easily make it to the main event without having to change anything. I got my sentence. Daniel saved the beard, so they must get a haircut. If you want to get the girls.
Is Damien Sandow the new Triple H, judging by his early career of his English gimmick? He's pretty much a carbon copy, but he does it a lot better, in my opinion, than the Triple H gimmick than when he first came into the WWE.
I'm not sure if I would say Sandow being the new Triple H. In this character, Triple H's first character, he pretty much would be. But to go as high as Triple H, I really don't see that. But I think Sandow's got a good future ahead of him.
Mr. Trick 1 asked us 4 questions. Long time since he's asked us some questions. So Sheldon, you're going to get the questions answered in this Q&A, my friend. What do you think about a rumour that Jeff Hardy returning to WWE in the future? I can see there is probably a little bit of truth to this because Jeff Hardy might want a bit of a payoff.
That's very true because he did promise he'll return, and I think by him returning, he could help Orton out big time help Orton out.
What is the silliest things you guys have done?
Well, most of my life is all about silly activities and scenarios and situations, so just save my life.
The silliest thing I've ever done was leaving my phone on in the last, I believe it was the last Q&A, and the phone went off and it made me jump. I don't know why I left my phone on and it just went off.
Yeah, that is the most serious thing you've done in your life, Dan. That is the most silliest thing.
Yeah.
That is really bad, really bad.
Just don't tell him that one. Just don't tell him that one silly thing I did. We'll move on. How would you repackage Mr. Anderson in TNA? Well, I mean, it's not really about the character. It's just they don't seem to have a place on the card for him, do they? Really, let's face it.
I think with Mr. Anderson, I think he's got the abilities because we've seen him against good like Aries, and he's proven himself that he can talk up against the best. He can do this. He can do that. I just think it's about using him. That's all.
Who looks most silly out of us two, NJ or me? You answer in the comment section below. We're going to continue the Q&A like this. If Bubba Ray came to WWE, how should they use him? How do you think that they would use Bully
You've gone
Ray?
back to Bubba Ray, so I think
Bubba!
you're going to make him come back as a face into the WWE. I don't think his work's good in face anymore. I'd have him do something in TNA to make him heel again, and then him just to come in and start going against not a champion, but go against someone that is a main eventerish guy to keep him higher than where he was once before.
TR3 Da Truth asked us 3 questions. Do you think it's better to have a face or heel general manager in charge of Raw and SmackDown? It really does depend on who is your number one guy. If your number one guy is a heel, then it would be good to have like Bobby Roode, for example, in TNA. At the time, you'd have a face general manager. But heel general managers are definitely a lot better in terms of the amount of heat they can draw and what they can do.
I think to have them working on TV and to make, especially in this time when the faces are more popular than the heels, I think having a heel GM and then building off that would be a strong point for the future of the shows.
Which do you enjoy watching more, WWE or TNA? For me, it's definitely TNA. No, hands down, I enjoy TNA way more than I'm enjoying WWE right now.
Even though both companies have their slip-ups, because both companies have made me laugh over the last couple of weeks, I'm going to say, even though my heart's in WWE because of what it's done for me to get me into wrestling, TNA, as I've said in past videos, have stepped up their game, finally, in the wrestling world.
Since Dolph Ziggler is nothing more than a glorified jobber and has yet to win an important match at a big pay-per-view, do you feel or believe he can be a world champion after this shitty booking? Well, he will be a world champion, and unfortunately, by that time, we probably won't believe that he would be a world champion, but it is a bit of a shame that they haven't really given him I mean, they made him end Jericho's career on Raw. It would have been better if they just did it on the pay-per-view or beat Orton. You know, it would have been so much, and it would have been better if he just beat Orton and Nia champions.
It's a reason why I'm against the Money in the Bank concept, because it's always the people who are Money in the Bank, they have their bad booking, then all of a sudden, when the opportunity comes for them to cash it in, become champion, they're better, they get better direction, they retain their title. So I'll say it's going to happen, but I think for once they should have booked the Money in the Bank winner strong, so when they cashed it in, it's more believable.
Yep, same here. And the last question we're going to answer on this Q&A, E-J Francis. EJ Francis, do you guys think Kofi Kingston will ever win the big one, like the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship? I do not think he will ever win that one, because I don't think WWE will ever have faith in Kofi Kingston to go anything other than being a mid-carder or a tag team wrestler.
I personally have been wanting it to happen. I've been wanting to say, he's been there a long time, he's a good performer. If the WWE didn't have all their thoughts on having a certain aspect of what a main event should look like and act like, I think Kofi Kingston could have been one of the wrestlers, especially when he's been in like Elimination Chambers, Royal Rumbles. He could have had a run with the belt, maybe not a long-term run, but he could have held at least one of the 2 belts.
Yeah, and essentially his push was fucked up in 2009 when he went up against Orton. That was the one chance WWE had to make him into a main eventer, and they failed with it. So there we go. That's another Q&A. I'm going to stop this now, because my shirt is starting to stretch. You've only got one now. Anyway, put your thoughts in the comment section below on some of the questions that we have answered in this video. If you have any questions, keep sending them into us, and we'll continue to give you a Q&A every week. I know last week's was on a Friday, but this week's is Tuesday, and next week's will be Tuesday as well. So, NJ, do you want to outro this video, please?
Well, people, thank you very much for tuning for another Q&A. It's been a Q&A that we've enjoyed doing. It's just about keeping your questions coming in. We'll keep doing these videos for you. And all I'm going to say, YouTubers, is thank you very much again for watching. And until next time, from the one only, the British Fist, goodbye.